Hello, ladies and
and
gentlemen.
welcome back
To the Eagle Eye podcast.
Oh, dude, I thought I had an audio issue. Why did you guys not tell me you guys were
going
gonna do that?
Dylan, I guess I can edit this part out as no one's watching yet. But
No, we gotta keep that in.
okay, I can. If it's not one thing, it's another, right?
Honestly, I thought I had an audio issue. I was hearing double. I was like, "Holy crap, guys! Stop it!"
Me too. I rushed. Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Eagle Eye podcast. It is episode 48, and even though we had that weird introduction, we are here to break down and talk everything Las Águilas del América. As always, we're going to preview everything we have in store for the Liguilla, and then, of course, we're going to break down that 4-1 result over Veracruz. These gentlemen seem to think that it was the result of the week. I happen to think otherwise, and we'll talk about all of that and see why I'm still a bit concerned about the team going into this Liguilla. But without further ado, let me introduce my co-host, as always, Christian and Mr. Cowboy Dan. How are we, gentlemen?
I am doing very well. Oh crap!
No,
Yo,
you
listen.
good, man.
Wait, well, he said my name first, so I thought I would go first, but
No, you good, man. No, you good. You're right. You're
I
right.
thought this how this worked.
I know. I stepped over your thunder, man. You good? I understand.
Are you still on vacation?
No, I'm not on vacation.
Okay.
Says the guy who is not willing to put his camera screen on right now.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what?
You're definitely by a beach right now, and you're just not like showing us.
I'm at work. I told you this.
If I hear DJ Khaled going and another one while handing you a mimosa, I'm gonna be calling HR.
Yeah.
I never got my gancito for getting that one prediction right.
Oh,
Hey,
season's not over.
Yeah, season's not over. Yeah.
Oh shit!
How close was I to that 4-0?
How close? You were close,
close.
3 times this season.
It's ridiculous.
And it wasn't even a penalty, to be honest.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Anyways,
yes.
I am doing very well, though. Thank you for asking.
Cowboy Dan, well, we already know how you're doing right now, living it up.
Yeah.
You can say that, I guess. I have to live with the. Y'all know my predicament. I'm exporting this video, and it's slow for my laptop right now.
Hence why we told you guys last week he was filming a music video with Rick Ross and Little Baby. This is what he's doing right now. He's exporting it to the world.
If only you can see me shake my head in shame right now. I'm not ashamed. I wouldn't say shame. I don't know why I said shame.
Would you have been up for it if like Piojo did like a cameo in that music video with you guys?
Oh, I talked to Piojo. I told him, I was like, "What the hell are you doing at America?" I was like, "But you want to make this cameo appearance?"
and you know what? That's funny because a lot of people are pretty frustrated with the fact that kind of Piojo has kind of these kind of outside adventures.
Yeah. People, I know he took a picture with that boxing belt, and people were kind of like bashing him about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, the guy's living his life. He's a human being outside of his job.
Yeah. Like I don't understand the hate, to be honest.
But I mean, everyone's got their own right. I'm not criticizing anyone for criticizing him. I'm just saying, I'm trying to see it from a different perspective.
Right. I agree.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we got so much to talk about. We got the big party going down this week in regards to La Liguilla. And then, of course, we have this Veracruz game that we're going to break down and talk about the good, the bad, and possibly maybe a little bit of the ugly. And we'll break all of that down. And then, of course, we have another trivia question. We're getting closer to the end of trivia now.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that next week we could be announced. Hopefully we don't. But next week could possibly be the last podcast of the season. And I hope it's not, but that's what it's coming down to. And it's that time of the year.
Knock on wood, because we do not want this to be the last one. But all right. Shout out to everyone who is here watching us right now. Mr. Chris 45, our good friend, Mr. Carlos Serna. All of you, Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to be discussing, like I mentioned, Veracruz, and then, of course, we'll talk Liguilla, Toluca, whether or not they're the perfect opponent coming into this, and whether or not there's even a weak link in this Liguilla side, because I tend to argue that maybe not even Querétaro's that weak of a team coming into this Liguilla. But without further ado, let's jump into what happened last Saturday in the Estadio Nemesio Diaz. That's right. America didn't play on home turf soil as we predicted. Actually, no, not as we predicted. As our good friends down at the Resaca Americanista gave us kind of a quick insight on what's going down there in Mexico. Speculations was that the game could have been played in Veracruz, but then, of course, the game got moved over to Toluca. It was kind of a bit weird. I didn't really feel at home, and it felt more like an away game for both teams, really.
It did. And it was even weirder because you saw the vast majority was America fans. And even though the atmosphere was kind of great in that sense, it still didn't feel like a home game. I don't know. It was just a weird vibe.
It was very weird. Although I would happen to say, was it almost a full sellout?
Almost. Not quite, but it was almost.
But I mean, the atmosphere, like you said, amazing. And the fans showed up in numbers.
Yeah.
I think one of the main reasons is because, too, there's a lot of Americanistas in Toluca. And you also have to remember that Toluca from Mexico City is not that far of a drive.
Yeah.
So should be interesting to see whether or not whenever we do return there on Thursday, whether or not our fan base will be able to show their true colors again so early, too, within the week.
Oh, yeah. We're going to need it.
Alrighty. Dylan, give me kind of your quick summary after the final whistle blows against Veracruz. Of course, that match ends with a 4-1 result to our Águilas del América. After that, then we'll talk about whether or not you guys thought the team actually looked ready for Liguilla. But Dylan, give me a quick little recap of what you felt after the final whistle. Well, it looks like Dylan is...
He left us to go with DJ Khaled again. I told you this would happen. Why don't you listen to me?
What?
Oh.
You know how my internet is. I'm sorry. But I said new stadium, still missing penalties.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, that is true.
Still missing penalties. Although, was anyone surprised?
No.
Especially when I knew Cecilia was gonna take it.
Hell yeah!
I said I'm not gonna watch this. Because I was holding in because I had to go to the bathroom. I saw the penalty and I saw who was gonna take it. So I said, never mind. I'll just go right now. And then, funny enough, he missed. So.
And I think I was talking to you, Dylan, before we started that just when he did the run up, I already knew okay, he missed it already.
I mean, okay, I'll be honest, I was tweeting the first half, so I tried to give it hype, but I was I just know deep down it's gonna be missed, so I don't know why I even tried.
I think the ref should have just gave the red card and just instead of giving us the corner.
Exactly.
Probably.
Which quite controversial, not really controversial because it was actually a very good call on the VAR with the whole penalty incident, the mano, and then of course the red card because he was impeding the goal scoring opportunity and he was the last man, which I think was a very good kind of round of applause for the referee team. But I mean, kind of made the game just a little bit more easier for us, which I guess isn't in any way a bad thing, but maybe you would have tried to see a little bit more fight from this Veracruz team.
Yeah, you would expect that.
Yeah, but obviously we didn't.
And we'll get into that. Christian, just a quick recap of how you felt after the final whistle.
Good. Set pieces once again were key.
Interesting enough, they were 2 goals coming from free kick situations. We'll break those down, and then I mean, if the penalty would have gone in, that would have been another set piece, right?
Yeah. Penalties count as set pieces.
I mean, the ball's put on the ground, it's dead. I would imagine. Probably not, but let's just imagine in this.
All right, so let me rephrase that: 2 goals coming from dead balls.
There you go, a dead ball situation.
Could have had it, but Cecilia. So
But let's break it down, because I have quite a couple of things to argue about this game. A lot of people will say that this was a very good showcase by our team, that we look ready for the Liguilla, and what I have to say in response to that is, how is it that we're so confident after beating a very poor Veracruz side? Yes, Veracruz, we love you here in the Liga MX, but we have to admit this isn't the strongest side we've seen Veracruz put out. And then you have to think to yourself, and we'll bring up the stats right now. We shot, I don't know how many times that goal, and we had so many opportunities to score. We found the back of the net only 4 times. Yes, 2 of those situations were through, like you mentioned, set pieces, dead ball situations. So that means the other 2 goals that we scored came from open play, right?
Yes.
Now, Dylan and Christian, you guys have the numbers right here in front of us, and we'll say them out loud just in a little bit, but you see how much opportunities we had. Yes, the goalkeeper had a phenomenal game, but you look back and this could have easily have been a killing. And the fact that we didn't find the back of the net puts a lot of worries in me. Now, Dylan, tell the people, how many shots did we have that game?
The America had 31 shots.
31 shots. Christian, how many of them were on target?
16.
16. You're telling me out of 31 shots that we took, 16 were on target. That means that half of the time we shot the whole game was at goal. Now, out of those 16 shots, you're telling me only four went in. Mm-hmm. And 2 of those came from a dead ball situation.
Yes.
So now you're thinking, okay, what happened? Now the goalkeeper had 2-3 phenomenal saves that you just thought, oh my goodness, what a save. I'm talking 4 at the most. Mm-hmm. So that still leaves me with about, what? We said 16, 4 of them were goals. So now you're talking about 12. 4 of those were phenomenal saves. So now you're talking 8. 8 shots. 8 shots that we should have converted. Mm-hmm. At least half of those should have been another 4 goals.
Yes.
And the worrisome part about this is, how many times did we say that we were so worried about America coming into this Liguilla like a year ago, exactly a year ago, when we had to play Toluca, Cruz Azul in during Thanksgiving, where it was just goalless, scoreless, and we couldn't find the back of the net, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Now a lot of people think, well, that's over. We're done. We found the back of the net. But my question is, yes, against a very, very weak Veracruz side, in which we weren't able to convert more than 4 goals, which could have easily blew them out. Mm-hmm. Now you're going up against a Toluca side that's going to defend much better.
Yes.
That's going to play an even better game. So I'm doubtful that we're going to have 16, 20 shots the whole game. Now my question is, if we weren't fine-tuned versus Veracruz, what makes you think that we're going to be very fine and very keen in our opportunities against a Toluca side?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you basically made your point there. If you look at it too, like you said, you have 2 goals from set pieces. I mean, yeah, you can kind of count Guido's in a sense, but I mean, look at it. It was just a bad play from Veracruz in that sense. He steals the ball, he takes it a couple feet, then shoots from long distance, and he finds the back of the net. I mean, I can see your argument if you make that, like, yeah, that's something, that we score on ourselves, but really the only goal that we really let develop, I mean, you can even call that off of a bad play too, is that Cecilio Dominguez assist to Roger Martinez. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it still feels like it's there, like it's still lacking a little bit. Because what did Roger do after that goal? I mean, he coming into the game, he's, if I remember the stat correctly, I remember reading it, it's total 11 hours he spent on the pitch since his last goal. And like, I legit thought he was about to go another 12 or 12 and a half hours if he played this full 90 minutes without scoring a goal. But he ended up scoring. But still, I mean, it's just, you look at the shots and you look at the shots on goal. Obviously we can agree it could have been a massacre. It really could have, but it wasn't in the end. And you got to wonder too, what were some of this in the rest of the season too as well.
And you also got to point out the other striker, Oribe Peralta. He was a ghost this game, in my opinion, at least. I did not see anything from him. Very little to no active when creating or developing a play. You you can't rely on someone like Roger too, who has been very inconsistent this season as well. So you add those elements together, and I guess that's where you get your point, Ivan. Our finishing is just terrible. We can't finish these chances that we have in front of the net due to these strikers being so inconsistent and not being active during the game.
I'm just thinking to myself, if someone's coming over here like ready to celebrate the America victory against we completely just kind of ruin their mood. And it's not for us to not celebrate the win, because I agree. I think both of you can agree with me that when the final whistle blew, you were happy. I was happy the team won. You were happy the team won. At the end of the day, you're happy about the team. You're looking at it from a perspective of an analyst, and you're trying to determine, okay, how far can this team actually get? What have you shown me throughout 17 games that now you're going to be playing the playoffs and say, okay, I'm very comfortable going into this, or I'm very worried about going into against a team like Toluca, who granted may not be having the best season, but hey, whenever someone plays against America, for some reason they step it up times 10. And that's what you have to keep in mind as well when you're going forward. And yes, I agree with you, Christian. Oribe Peralta was non-existent for me this game.
Definitely.
It's phenomenal. The way we're talking about this, someone would be surprised that America found 4 goals.
But I think the majority of the fan base understands, I think, where we're coming from. Our good friend Chris over here said that, you know what, it should have been 7 or 8 goals. And he's right. It really should have been 7 or 8. And I guess we're just, disappointed, or there's a word I'm looking for. I can't really think of it right now. But, we're just, we don't understand why we can't finish these chances against a weak Veracruz,
And I think you pointed out perfectly, these chances against a side just like Veracruz, because Henry had
no disrespect to Veracruz, by the way.
No,
Veracruz.
no disrespect whatsoever. But I remember Henry has a one-on-one. Yes, it's very close range to the goalkeeper, but you would imagine someone like that, all you got to do just tap it into one side, one side, and it's a goal. But he finds a way to smash it into the goalkeeper.
I know what play you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone's gonna remember the goals, and the huge saves that the goalkeeper did, which again, they were amazing. But all these fine little moments, you think, an opportunity missed here, an opportunity gone there. And I want to bring back to the point where, Dylan, you said that even the first goal could be argued as maybe not that good of a goal. I think what we're trying to say is,
because you look at it, like the way you see the ball go, it looks like he's ready to sky it. I mean, he's lucky he went over the keeper's head and he found the top of the netting.
Yes, and also what I want to break down to that is we want this team to be able to play as a team and score as a team. The way I feel this team has played is dead ball goals, like we mentioned, on set pieces, and just long balls. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think that first goal goes beyond 5-6 touches from America. From what I remember is Emmanuel Aguilera throwing a really long pass to Cecilio Dominguez, then running down, crossing it in, and then, like you said, Roger scuffing it and still finding the back of the net.
Yeah.
Fair assessment?
Fair assessment.
Basically.
So now what do you say there? Well, one, Veracruz obviously left a lot of space for us to score a goal like that. 2, you're not going to get that kind of space against Toluca. And if you do, then you might as well be able to take your opportunity like that as well. And you question everything about this team, even though, yes, a lot of people will say, but you're second at the table. You're the team who scored the most goals. You blew out Veracruz in the final game. It's some people will say, well, how come you guys are not content? And it's as simple as saying it's because it's America. And it's because we know what the demands are here. They're high. The standards are high. Sometimes ridiculously high. Yes, I can agree to that. I think sometimes we're very unfair. We're very unjust.
Yes.
But if the standards are there, we have to keep them. There's no way for you to lower the bar, especially coming into the Liguilla.
Yeah.
So it's yes, we have to be critical. We have to be kind of defining every single moment and question, why didn't I go in? Why couldn't you put it in the back of the net? Why, a lot of whys throughout this whole season. I think we've all asked pretty much all of them. And whether or not, or if we're going to get our answer, is whether or not this team shows up for the Liguilla in the sense that the way we know this team can play.
And we kind of assume that this team by now would have had a set style, and all these like little errors would have been fined out, ready for Liguilla. But like you say, Ivan, it's kind of it's not worrying so much to the point where we're gonna be like, oh my god, like are we really gonna lose to Toluca on Thursday? It's more like if we have a big chance in the game, are we confident that we're gonna capitalize on it? Because this is Liguilla, like you said, it's you have one chance, and that one chance can mean the whole series where you advance or go home.
Yeah, it's you don't know what America you're gonna get, and that's what's worrisome.
And the uncertainty level is so high that it makes it kind of worrying for the Liguilla, if you know what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree with you exactly, because it's you don't know what team you're gonna play. Like you said, we should have a set style by now. But even before we have a set style, we should have a set starting 11 by this point.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Tell me if you're 100% sure who's playing center back and who's playing left mid come Thursday.
I don't know.
And that's the thing. That's the question that we've asked so many times. What we want is a team that can go out there and play. But for you to have that, you need to have chemistry. You need to have 17 games under your belt, where at least 40% of those, your final starting 11 should have played with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, back to that question, that word consistency is what we're looking for in this team, and we don't know what we're gonna get on Thursday.
No, we're not. And also the point you make about the starting 11, maybe this Veracruz game should have been that, I guess, practice game in a sense. No disrespect to Veracruz, but that should have been our game to test out an 11 that you will put out on Thursday, just to get each other, familiarized with each other, and in case you do have a chance, you have more chemistry. And then later it could lead to a greater chance of scoring the goal,
Yeah. And now let's talk about actually the players itself in this game, because I think, like you mentioned, I'm very surprised we have 31 shots, and I'm very surprised we got 4 goals, because there were at least a handful of players that I could name that had a very poor game in my eyes. And we'll start at the back. Paul Aguilar looked very, very poor. He didn't look like himself.
He looked shaky, yeah. Mm-hmm. Just when we thought he was coming back.
Exactly. And I don't know if it was because he thought, okay, we're playing against Veracruz, we already scored a goal right away. Maybe he got a bit overconfident. I don't know exactly what it was. But at this point, you can't risk losing rhythm. And you would imagine someone of his kind of caliber and his experience would kind of know that.
And that was correct me if I'm wrong, but it was him that gave away the penalty to Veracruz, right?
Correct. I mean, the penalty, yes, it was a bit shaky. I don't know whether it was or not. We're not going to get into that discussion. I think at the end of the day, it was marked. It was marked. As simple as that. But for him to get beat like that, that's
exactly
that's my concern.
Yeah,
that's worrisome, to say the least.
I mean, the center back partnership, I think they were non-existent, but because really Veracruz didn't really push him to the limit. Of course, Aguilera will be defined with his goal. And then, of course, Jorge Sanchez. Again, another player that didn't have to do much, so there was no reason to kind of, keep an eye on him, even though he was coming back after that hand injury, which I thought was pretty funny that Cecilio Dominguez told him to take up a throw-in, knowing that he literally has a cast on. He only has fingers, and his fingers aren't all the way out, too. So it's just like, why are you risking that?
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he was a bit. No reason why we need to focus so much on him. It was the midfield up where I had the issues. You look at Mateus Uribe. Again, too quiet for me this game. In a game where you thought, okay, against Veracruz, you want to have a player like Mateus Uribe gain confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see enough from that from him. Didn't see.
I think he had some moments, but then again, that's you know what you can expect from him, and he's not reaching that.
He's not. I mean, Guido had a good game, no questions asked there. Even gets himself a goal. And I don't even think the goal was the highlight of his game. Again, it was just how well he orchestrated the midfield and how well he kept it. And then you move over to the left-hand side, Cecilio Dominguez. Now, I throw it to you, Christian. Did you think Cecilio Dominguez did enough to merit a start this Thursday, or was he, again, just this kind of poor Cecilio Dominguez?
I mean, listen, it's kind of hard to rate Cecilio Dominguez judging our opponent. For my standards against Veracruz, I think he did a very good job. But like I said, this is against Veracruz. I think you could put Ibargüen there or even Tony Lopez there, and then they probably would have done the same things Cecilio did, you know? So, I mean, for that game itself, I think he did a good job. And if we're going to base it off this game, then yeah, he does deserve the start on Thursday.
Even after missing that penalty?
Even after missing the penalty, yes.
Okay.
Quick side note. Was Ibargüen hurt this game? I forgot.
Yes. No, okay. Yeah, he was, right? Like knocked up a little bit?
Yeah, I believe so. No, actually, he was on the bench.
He was on the bench, right? But
no,
maybe he was. Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah, he was. Okay. No, I just forgot. Okay.
I should have known he was hurt.
Damn, that's a good question. We'll have to figure it out.
Where's Larrasaca when you need them?
Seriously, right? Dial 1-800 Larrasaca to the rescue.
Yeah.
But like, I think you're right. In a sense, either Ibargüen or Cecilio Dominguez against this Veracruz team probably would have had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look over at the right-hand side and you have Renato Ibarra, a player that me and you talked about, Christian, last week's pod. A lot of people kind of questioning whether or not his time at America was over. Even the commentators were even having that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting to see that this kind of has picked up traction. And then, of course, now recently with this rumor of Julio Furch probably coming in and using a swap deal for Renato Ibarra and Ibargüen.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk a little bit about that later. But my question is, after a game, yes, I get it. It's still same standards as Cecilio Dominguez. It was against Veracruz, but I mean, I think he had a much better game than Cecilio Dominguez this game.
Oh, definitely, especially with that golazo that he did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and I think you're trying to see Renato, gain a little bit more confidence. I guess he likes to be in control of the play more. He demands the ball more rather than us like looking for it and like. So like in previous games, you would see our midfield, like look for him and he'll just stand there. He won't really like demand for the ball. But in this game, I saw him like asking for the ball a lot, and I think he kind of feels like he knows he can make a change in the game. Like a great impact.
And we'll all say what a goal he scored, right?
Oh.
But if you notice in the other 2 free kicks that we had before that, he wanted him.
Yeah,
he wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they told him no, and they finally gave him that one. And oh my God, what a what a way to close out the game.
That was a super goal.
So then now moving even more forward, we go to our forwards. So 2 players we already talked about, Roger and Oribe, non-existent for most of the match.
For most of the match, yes.
Mm-hmm. Then you bring in substitutions. You brought in the likes of Diego Lainez at halftime, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Halftime, yeah.
Diego Lainez, yes.
Diego Lainez had a full 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he had a better game than maybe Cecilio Dominguez. I think they were a par. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The same.
Yeah.
Worrisome thing, because
it is.
This kid left to the Mexico under-20s in tremendous form. He comes back, and he's just he looks like he's just trying to pick it back up.
Yeah. But maybe this was the game to do it.
Maybe it was. And I think that's why Piojo gave him the 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He probably has plans for him on Thursday, and he just wants him to get back in the rhythm of things.
Exactly.
Which I completely agree with. It's fine.
Which could be interesting to see. Maybe Oribe gets dropped and Lainez gets put in that cam spot. We'll talk about it, though. We'll talk about it because that's a possibility for not just Thursday, probably even Sunday.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Roger, who played the full 90.
Like I think this is one of his better games.
Roger, yes.
Yeah, but we keep going back to this.
He didn't produce enough in the sense that he's our main striker. And then you bring on Henry Martin.
Yes.
This is someone that we have kind of this love-hate relationship in on this podcast, and some people have duly noted that. Look, I have nothing against Henry.
I don't either.
And I just want the best for this guy, especially in an America jersey. But he's not producing when he has enough minutes to do so. Granted, yes, he has 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 8 minutes there. I can't ask him to score a hat trick within that time frame, especially against very tough opponents. But you get a full 20, 30 minutes in a team on a side like Veracruz in a game where you're up a man and you got more than open space. And you're telling me you and Roger can't do anything enough to find the back of the net?
Didn't he hit the crossbar once?
Yep.
or the post. I can't remember which one, but I remember it getting pretty close.
I mean, I don't know what Henry needs. Does he need like Olympia? Do you got? I don't know what he needs at this point.
Actually, that's a very good point. I just noticed that for the whole second half, we were up a man, but only managed to score 1 goal.
Yeah, that's really
That's
worrisome.
that's what I was trying to go to.
and then especially whenever you look back at Henry, whenever he was really close to scoring that key, but like instead of him trying to put it on goal or put it back inside the box to somebody, it just hits the keeper instead.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I just noticed that actually. That's
like I said. Like I don't know what this team needs. Okay, and then I guess this is a perfect segment into talking about this. We finish as the most high scoring team in the league. What do you guys take of that?
I mean, we don't have a constant scorer, despite people can argue like, oh, nobody's being selfish, or the ball's getting passed around for other scores. But I mean, if you go back and look at it, how many goals have we scored off for set pieces? And we can say it's a pretty good chunk of the goals we scored. But then again, if you look at it too, only 10 goals have come from our forwards. That includes Henry, Roger, and Oribe. And that's 10, and we scored 33 goals, so that means the other 23 have come for players that are not forwards.
Right.
And we talked about this, Dylan. Me and you were having a chat about this. How is it that only 10 of those goals come from your strikers?
And that was a tweet, right? Yeah, because I saw a tweet about the breakdown of the goals. I was trying to look for it. It was 10 of the strikers, 15 midfield, 8 defenders.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that was the breakdown.
Okay, so that's the breakdown, right?
That's the breakdown, yes.
Now you think 15 goals for a midfield? That's great. That's wonderful. That's phenomenal. That's what you want to see from a midfield from America. Yes. Yeah, 8 goals from defenders, perfect. It's exactly a little higher than what anyone else would expect, but hey, we'll take it. 10 goals from your strikers, and from within three strikers, Henry, Roger, and Oribe. They got 10 goals, and you would have been okay. They all got one, got 4. The other one they both got 3. No, Oribe Peralta had 5. Roger had 3.
3, yes.
Henry had 2.
2, yes.
Now you think to yourself, well, I mean, that's not bad numbers, but yeah, that's not bad numbers if you're talking about a midfield. If you talk about your midfielders getting 10 goals,
yeah.
It should be your forwards getting the 15. Your midfield getting the 10.
Yes.
Right?
It's worrisome to see your defenders getting almost the same amount of goals as your strikers.
And that's the worst. And I was talking to Dylan about this. It's like, yeah, look, you can make the argument all you want that this is phenomenal for America. The fact that your team is getting spread around with goals, but you need someone. You need a clinical finisher. I don't care how much you really want to say that, as a team you should all be scoring, but I think the forward's job is simple. It literally is a description that says score goals. Literally, is his job description. And if you're not doing that, what are you doing then? And I feel like you're taking up space.
Right. People make the argument that the defenders only have goals because of the set pieces. Well, yes, you can make that argument, but you only get a handful of set pieces per game. The strikers are up there trying to produce a goal for the whole 90 minutes. You're not going to have a set piece every 5 minutes and then a defender can score a goal from there. It's a very limited amount to what they can score. So that's also worrisome that, your defenders have a limited time in front of the net and they're producing the same amount of goals as you in 90 minutes. It's it's not good.
It's shocking because you can't even say, well, the midfield's not producing enough balls up front. It's not like the midfield is giving you key passes. How is it that if the midfield is scoring goals, they're more than sure putting good passes. They're more than sure producing something for you to finish.
Exactly.
It's the fact that you're not. And it's like we said, it's worrisome because you want someone that you can say, okay, could you imagine this America team having a clinical goal scorer? I'm not even talking Gignac numbers. I'm just talking 7, 8, 9 goals this season. Just the striker alone to have that kind of numbers and to be that kind of presence in the box. Can you imagine what that would do for the team? how much more confident we would be going into this Liguilla. And we wouldn't even be straying away from all this talking about whether if the team is ready, whether the chemistry is there, whether we know what's going to be played. You would know for a certainty, well, this guy's on fire, this guy's on roll. Let's get him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that right now.
Just funny thing, you mentioned Gignac, right? The top scorer of the league. Tigres as a team has 32 goals with Gignac on. We have 33 without a Gignac. So imagine if we did have someone like him or putting up numbers, close to him, we would be up and past the 40 mark.
We could have easily have taken first spot. We would have easily steamrolled through the league.
Mm-hmm, that's what I'm saying. So, people underestimate the fact that, our strikers aren't doing their job, basically. And then they hate on comments like, Henry shouldn't be playing anymore, or we should retire, we should sell Roger. Yes, those comments are kind of excessive, yes, but to a point, they kind of raise an eyebrow, like, you know what, maybe you're right. These guys need to step it up more because you guys are our strikers.
Now, Dylan, I'm curious to hear what you had to say, because when we were discussing this, I think you kind of shared some similarities with what I was saying.
Yeah, most definitely too, and it's just. We haven't I think we've asked too, when are we gonna have this 10 goal score every season and the up and through in the Clausura, and we haven't. I can't even remember the last time, to be honest, whenever somebody scored 10 goals. But that's something that we need. We don't have really that person to depend on to score these goals. Really, as a forward. I mean, we extended Uribe. We brought in Roger, and you've heard me complain before. Henry was doing so good. Menez comes, and then Piojo's going to pick Menez over Henry, and I can understand why, but still, it kind of frustrates me to bench somebody who's doing good in the Clausura just to get benched, and then it's just frustrating to see this, because now people can speculate, or you can, and I'm saying that people will. But, people be like, well, what would it be like if Menez was still with this team right now if he never tore his ACL? And I think it would be different, especially since we've always complimented the Uribe and Menez partnership as it was growing toward the end of the Clausura. Then Menez gets hurt, and you see it kind of on the decline. And then, now he's injured again, and, you don't have him. And so, who is going to step up? You ask that question. And to me, a little bit, you never saw nobody step up and did what Menez did in the Clausura. And so that's just the worrisome part too. I mean, the midfielders seem like they're making these chances, but then again, we've always criticized the creativity going forward and the decision making in the final third. And so that's just some parts of the area that this team needs to improve. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to really finding that person and finishing the chances that we had, because we can go back and listen to every episode we had this season, and we'll always find a way to find a spot in the game that we review that we had a chance. We never took it, or we just can't finish because we don't have our finishing boots on.
Yeah, and I think that's been the talk of the podcast for a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because a lot of people will make the argument that this team is fine without that lethal goal scorer, because, like a good friend Chris 45 says, France won the World Cup with their striker scoring 0 goals. And what I say to that is yes, but in a short time frame. You had a month in which you had to play your best game. How many months did America have this Liga MX?
August, September, October, November, and then so 4.5, I guess. That's we'll put 4 months.
4 months. In a span of 4 months, I would expect more. In a month time, okay, I could see why. Granted, some people will say wingers can sometimes act as strikers, but even then, in a month's time, yeah, that's a possibility. France showed us that that's a possibility, and that's great teamwork. And that's what we want for this America team, a great teamwork, which we have some of that. But you also want a lethal striker, because when it comes down to a match in which two teams are pit against each other who are very equal in skill and level, and I'm talking about maybe a possible final between America and Cruz Azul, which I hear that a lot. Could you imagine that game being very tight, like it was in the Azteca, like in October?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that game? What a lethal clinical finisher can do when he gets just one opportunity. That's all he needs. because you think if Roger gets one opportunity, you think it's going 50-50 at this point.
I think you can say that with all strikers that we have right now.
Exactly. It's just we need a lethal clinical finisher, and hopefully we get that next transfer window. Hopefully Roger can be that in the Clausura. But for now, I know we need to work with what we got. And am I more than confident with what we have? Of course I do, because I can still, these players can turn it on like that. But from what they've showed us to this point, it doesn't seem to be the case.
Right.
Preach.
We'll try to do so. Well, I think we rambled enough about this Veracruz and this America side. We're going to talk Liguilla now in a little bit. But before that, let's kind of wrap this up. Gentlemen, how do you, I guess I'll say my saying, it was good. Probably could have been better, but, you're still happy with the way the team closes it out in the end, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to close the season on a winning note. More importantly, a goal fest winning note. I'm confident. It was a good showing, but like you said, the strikers, man, we need more from them.
Dylan?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was still a good showing. A great way to end on a high note. Just what team are we going to get Thursday is still the question that's in my mind. And I was going to say something else, but it slipped my mind.
Maybe it'll come back to you. All right, well, that does it. America won 4-1, and now we're gonna move on into the next segment. Before we talk Liguilla, Christian, I believe it's time for these people to get their trivia question as we edge closer to the end of the season. Make sure you guys do come join us during these live shows, because again, you guys get these opportunities to be in touch with the trivia questions. All right, Christian, take it away. What is tonight's trivia question?
I guess goal scoring seems to be the topic of the podcast, not knowing so, because I come up with these questions beforehand. So it's funny that today's question is, who was the last America player to be the top scorer of the Liga MX?
Wow, that's a good one. We know Dylan can't answer this question because he literally said not that long ago that he couldn't remember the last time.
Mm-hmm. And I was going like this. Hopefully you guys saw me, because that was going to be the question. But yeah, that is tonight's question.
And I had someone in mind, but I will keep it to myself.
You can type it in chat and I'll let you know.
Okay, I think it was Hobby Bermudez. It was Hobby Bermudez, or it was Chema Cárdenas. Either one of those two.
I think it was Mina.
Dylan, I don't know if you caught last podcast, but me and Christian literally just told the world that
we kind of answered for you.
Our best of buds.
Mm-hmm. What?
That you and Mina are like best of friends.
Why? Why would you say that?
Well, because you two have a very good relationship. You guys always WhatsApp each other. Funny enough that sometimes I find that your Snapchat emoji is down in Ecuador. Funny enough, where he's from.
Oh my gosh.
So you tell me.
It's complicated. Leave me alone.
Yeah, like I'm recruiting for the podcast. But all right, there's your question. Make sure you guys go answer. You guys have an hour. Make sure you guys go get those points. Again, I can only imagine how tight it's getting up at the top.
I haven't seen this.
It's getting very, very close, and especially these questions, because they are worth double. So you keep answering these questions, you keep getting your points, and you can be walking away with the prize, which, to remind everybody again, it will be a jersey of your choice and one of the new era hats that just came out. So keep answering the questions. Thank you for stopping by, and hopefully you guys can win the prize.
You guys are gonna look icy with that new hat. If my slang is correct. I hope it is. I googled it right before we hopped on the podcast just for that reason alone. But let's move on.
Stop trying to be like the young folks.
Yeah, well, you know what? You get to my age, and it's either you either join them or you get left behind.
That is true.
Ain't trying to get left behind. Not yet. Still trying to make my way. But let's move on into the next segment, the biggest segment. Of course, we're going to be breaking down the Liguilla, which I think we kind of did already in the beginning.
It's Liguilla time. Woo! La fiesta grande del fútbol mexicano.
Exactly like Christian has just said, it is the big time. It is the big boy party for Liga MX. What? I mean, we were here not too long ago, 6 months ago. You and me, Dylan. 6 months before that, we were also here. Not on the Eagle Eye podcast, but on just a regular Copa America podcast we decided to do. Talking Liguilla.
6 months ago?
6 months ago was the Clausura.
Yeah, but that's when we had the Eagle Eye.
Yeah, but then a year ago.
Oh, I didn't hear you say a year ago. You threw me off. I got thrown off.
Oh, well, then now you know. Point is, we've been here 2 times already.
Been here.
And we've seen this team 2 times get knocked out of the semifinals. You would think 3rd time's the charm.
That was fun.
That was not fun.
That was not fun.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
At least the Tigres. No, you know what? They were both bad. If you told me which one hurt more, Tigres or Santos, they both hurt because Tigres knocked us out of the ballpark. Santos, we were so close to the comeback and just got ripped right under us. Mm-hmm. So they both hurt. They both hurt. But if you tell me what's going to feel better, making into the final this season would exactly be what we need. But before we can even think that far out, we take a step by step.
Long way to go.
And we need to focus on what's going to be going down this Thursday. So for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who haven't been paying attention, we have said it like 15 times already. America has a quarterfinal opponent. It is against Toluca. So America will be turning back to the Estadio Nemesio Diaz this Thursday. We up against Toluca. America finished 2nd place in the table, so that means we have home field advantage for every single game this season. Whether Cruz Azul makes it to the final or not, we will still have home field advantage because I don't care what you say. We're going to be playing in the Azteca, so America is going to be at home. Whether Cruz Azul is just slapped in the front before America, it's still going to be our home stadium. Mm-hmm. Now, with that said, that's very good because the tiebreaker in case of of the away goals being kind of together, equal, that means that the tiebreaker is table position.
Table position, yes.
And since America is 2nd place for the quarterfinals and the semifinals, that is the tiebreaker. Of course, there is no such thing as away goals or the table rule in the final. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different animal. But like I said, focus on this game ahead first. Toluca, gentlemen, how do you feel? Right? We were just kind of all texting each other, kind of going back and forth. What was it? Who were we going to get? What was the best outcome? And maybe we did get the best outcome because we'll talk about it right now. This Liguilla is by far one of the toughest Liguillas in a while.
This is the same exact Liguilla as last year, minus Tijuana plus Cruz Azul. Literally the same exact 7.
Yep.
So it's always a tough time when it comes to Liguilla. I think you put it perfectly, Ivan, at the beginning of the show. This is Liguilla time. No opponent is easy. So considering the circumstances that we had, we could have gotten some scary opponents. We could have gotten Tigres. We could have gotten Monterrey. We could have gotten Santos or Pumas, teams that are playing very well right now. And I guess so to say, other than I guess Querétaro, you kind of say Toluca was the choice we kind of wanted out of those teams.
But now here's my thing. I think at this point, so what? I mean, whoever we got in, we're eventually gonna have to face someone really good if we can get past this.
Right.
So,
but I guess the thing is to get our feet wet with the team that
you would think 17 games would have been enough to get.
But it's not though. That's the problem with us this season. So it's not. So Toluca.
But yes, I agree with you. Now, did we get the lucky draw there? I think we did. Like you mentioned, I think we did.
Yeah.
Now can we take care of business? Now, I don't know about you, gentlemen, but Toluca has never been an easy opponent for America.
True.
No.
They've always seemed to find a way to make life difficult for us. Do you remember the game this regular season? We drew 1-1.
Yes, 1-1.
In the Estadio Azteca. They had scored a minute and something into the game. Yes, we looked terrible. Mm-hmm. I'm really worried about that still. And then you look at the fact that, they haven't been playing their best football. They just came off a loss against Lobos Buap.
And they haven't won. They've won 1 game out of the last 5.
Exactly.
That
This
includes
is
3 losses.
this reminds me a lot about the situation of Piojo's America side that went on to win the league. They get a very good Pachuca side in the quarterfinals, though that Pachuca side was not the best form coming into the Liguilla.
Mm-hmm.
America takes care of business away at Hidalgo, meaning that when it comes down to the Estadio Azteca game, they don't really got to do much.
Mm-hmm.
You'd expect the same thing to happen on Thursday,
Right.
right? You'd
Yes.
want that.
You want that, yes. It would be very ideal to walk away with a result on Thursday.
Now let's talk about what is a result on Thursday. What is a decent that you walk out of there and you say, yes, I like it. We can go with this. Because a lot of people will argue a 1-1 is a result. Gentlemen, is a 1-1 at away on Thursday, Estadio Nemesio Diaz a result for our Águilas? Yes or no?
Yes.
Kind of. I mean, the away goal is good.
Yeah, that's why I say a lot of people will say that it's kind of like you're winning 2-1 at that point.
Yes.
But I'll tell you this much: I much rather would have a victory over.
Oh, I mean, draw. That's the obvious answer, though. We would obviously love to have a victory.
Yes, but for me, a 1-1 isn't a result. For me, 1-1 is worrisome because I know what Toluca's capable of doing at this Azteca because they showed us what they're capable of doing. You know?
Yeah.
I want this team to walk out of the Estadio Nemesio Diaz with a victory. I don't care whether they play beautiful or ugly. If they walk away with a goal and a victory, and maybe it was the most controversial game in history, but they still walk away with it, I take it away as a job well done. It doesn't matter how you got the result, but you got it. Mm-hmm. That's what I want. And I don't know if that's the mindset going into this. I don't know what the team is going into this with, but I think they need to know that, look, this is a decent Toluca side. It's not the best Toluca team. We just played in their home stadium. Mm-hmm. We know what the atmosphere is going to look like. Let's go out. Let's get the job done. And let's walk away. And let's take it easy on Sunday.
Right.
Whether or not we're going to get that, like we said, it all depends on what America side we're going to get on Thursday.
I see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. I see where you're coming from. Yes.
And now talking about that, let's try to break it down. Who or exactly what team will we see come Thursday, gentlemen? Give me your predicted lineup for what's to come Thursday. I'll drop it off to you first, Dylan, and then Christian. You can add on or take away from his.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with Marchesín in goal, Aguilar, Edson. This might be a little controversial, but I think I'm gonna go with Bruno Valdez, Sanchez, Renato Ibarra, Uribe, Guido, Ibargüen, and I think it's going to stick with Uribe and Rogers. So.
Okay. Christian?
I think I would have to switch Bruno and I would put Aguilera in. I would switch Ibargüen, put Cecilio in. And yeah, Roger and Uribe up top. Yeah, that seems to be the combo.
You know, where Christian put it, like I was legit thinking the same thing. I was like, because I could see it either way still. Like I really can.
I mean, basically, what came out on Veracruz will come out against Toluca.
That makes sense too.
I said it before. I think that this was the game to test the lineup you will play on Thursday, and that's what I'm sticking with.
What if I throw you guys a curveball and I tell you that the center back partnership is Bruno Valdez and Aguilera?
Riot.
I wouldn't believe you.
Ivan out.
But it's an Alberta starts.
So you're taking Guido out?
Nope. You're taking Mateus Uribe out.
I wouldn't do that.
That's a possibility.
It's a possibility, yes, but me personally, I would not do that. You're giving Toluca control of the midfield.
No, I'm giving Toluca control of their half. I'm not giving them control of the midfield because since in the midfield, I'm gonna have two people that are gonna stay very, very deep in Guido and Edson. Now that's something that we've criticized a lot because then we're playing
too defensive, and I don't like that, especially against Toluca.
Yeah.
But here's why I tell you this might happen is because what's the one thing Piojo loves to do in these situations when you're at an away game? We already know how he's going to come out and play.
That's if we get a goal first.
No, that's not if we get a goal. That is how we're going to come in. We're going to soak up the pressure. We're going to try to relieve it on the counter. We're going to use and abuse the wings. And it would make sense for me to think that Piojo would take out Mateus Uribe, put in Edson Alvarez, so that way you're able to soak up more in the midfield without giving too much up, and you're just going to use and abuse the counterattack.
Right.
Which is why I say it's a possibility. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think, yeah, you're spot on, Christian. I think the team that came out against Veracruz will most likely be the team we see on Thursday, with maybe the exception of one player at the most.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. Well, who would that one player maybe? I don't know. And for all I know, he could recall Osmar Mares and put him in goal. Mm-hmm. It could be that. But I think for the most part, you guys are spot on. We might see that. Now, saying that we do, and knowing how Piojo is, do you guys agree that we're gonna come out and play to soak up the pressure and relieve on the counter, or do you think we're going to take the game to Toluca?
Oh, man, I don't know, man. I honestly think...
You only answer that if you know how the team is going to come out and play. Is everybody going to come out and actually play, or some players going to come out just to diddle-daddle and just walk around the pitch?
I mean, it's Liga. I'd expect.
Yeah. You'd expect that, but then again, like we've already even said that whenever we're talking about the Veracruz game, what team are we going to get against Toluca Thursday? I mean, we don't know that either. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've seen games too where America, fast, coming out strong, putting on the pressure, and then you've seen too where they just fall off the pitch, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing.
Now, do you think that's a possibility? I'm not saying do you think that's a possibility. Do you think that will happen on Thursday, or do you finally think this America team is going to come out and play to prove?
I think they're going to come out and play to prove. I think Piojo will want the result on Thursday.
So then, in order to get this result, which for me would be that the victory, how do you come out, tactically speaking?
Just like how we've always wanted them to come out in the first, or really the whole game. Don't let the team get in the rhythm. Don't give them the space, pressure them. Get those quick 1-2 goals, and then just don't let them get in their rhythm, basically. And when we preach that all season, I think.
Let me take you back to that October game in the Estadio Azteca against Toluca. Toluca was smart enough to take the game to us at first.
Right, but then they slowed down. But then they slowed down tremendously, and we took over the game. After the Alexis Vega goal, give them 10 more minutes, and after the 10 minutes, that game was all ours.
Yeah.
But did you notice what America started doing differently?
Well, we played it to the wings a lot.
Not just that, but we held the ball and we moved it around to our liking, not to Toluca's, to our liking.
So we take control of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Through our midfield.
You need to pass the ball.
So we need Mateus Uribe.
Edson's a good pass.
Because I don't think we can take control of midfield like we did against them at the Azteca with Edson Alvarez and Guido Rodriguez playing so back. I don't think that's a possibility.
Yeah, exactly, because Edson can play center back, and at times whenever it's just Guido that's just playing in that holding role, you see him sit in between whoever the two center backs are, and so imagine if that was them too. So I don't really see Edson starting in this holding role.
Granted, we have seen Guido start to take more of an offensive touch per se. In some plays, you do see him go on the attack, go and try to create stuff. But I don't know. I just don't think this is it's hard to say because
I don't think this is the game for Guido.
Because like as good as Guido's been all season, what if this is the one game where he has a bad game and trying to do too much in a sense and trying to create something if the team's not playing well? What if he gets a little bit more frustrated? Okay, listen, Edson, you're back here. All right, fine. You stay back here. I'm gonna go up a little bit. You get caught on a counterattack because we know they have pacey wingers, and then we're down a goal and things start going out of control and we can't afford a loss on the first leg.
I mean, at this point, it's a lot of what ifs, and I get that. And
definitely.
It's only what ifs because, like you said, and these are the hardest what ifs because it's 2 games here. But I think if you want to see a good America side come out, then they have to play the most simplest thing in football, which is hold the ball, touch, pass, move, and go.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that, take the game to them. Don't settle. Even if you get a goal early in the game, don't settle.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up your game. Keep up the pressure. Move the ball around. You're good money. You're good money. So let's say America walks away with the. You know what? Before I say that, give me your predictions for Thursday.
2-1.
2-1 America?
Yeah.
Okay. Christian?
Well, not gonna be easy though.
2-0. 2-0 America. Mm-hmm.
Okay. For my sakes, I guess just for the example I wanted to use, I'm gonna put 1-1.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say America walks away with a 1-1 result.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the Estadio Azteca.
Okay.
Now is a thing. How do you come out and play? Because Toluca's gonna come out and try to get you because they have to.
Mm-hmm.
They
have to exactly. But then that's when we use their tactic, though. That's when maybe we decide for the first time. Okay, you know what? We know they're gonna be all on us, so maybe we'll have that extra support in the back with Edson Alvarez and Guido Rodriguez playing together, and then we can catch them on the counter because they're gonna be so. Their mindset will be so much on the attack that maybe they're gonna slip up here and there, and then that's when our wingers can take over, and then our counter attack will prevail and probably win us the game.
But my concern is why even give them that opportunity? Because, like you said, they have very prolific players on the wings.
Right.
If you take the game to them in the Estadio Azteca, just the way you did in the Estadio Nemesio Diaz, and you score a goal, then okay, by all means, sit back, soak up the pressure, and get
not with the 1-goal lead. Hell no.
Yes, because now you're
not
up
with one. Not
3.
No, not even then. I still don't like that because we've seen that happen. How many times have we sat here and when we praise America, oh, okay, they went 20-25 minutes taking the game to them and then they slack off whether they get the goal or not. I mean, no, I mean, despite it being an away goal, I still don't like this 1-0 lead. And we're like, okay, let's sit back and soak up the pressure. No, let's go out and get another one.
That is.
Are you talking about the Azteca game or are you talking about the first game?
This overall, because it's been like that. Because like I said too, we've sat here and be like, why didn't America come out and press and take the game to them? And then when they do, they only do it for so long, and then they're like, why couldn't they do this for the whole 45 minutes, 90 minutes?
And I guess I'll speak for myself. I guess I'm being a little bit like hypocritical because we've always had negative things to say when America played this way, Ivan. When we soaked with the pressure and relieved it, we always wanted to keep pressuring the opponent because that's when we feel that America shines at their best and makes teams uncomfortable. And you know what? Maybe that's how we should play, but I don't know. Like you said, it's a lot of what ifs, and it all depends on this result on Thursday.
Yeah, exactly, and just it's kind of like going back, like what I said too. Can this team do it for a whole 45 minutes? We see them do it for a whole 90 minutes? But we've only seen them do it like what, once or twice maybe, and one of those times being against Veracruz, which no offense, is Veracruz, but then that's what I'm saying. I mean, why relax after one, despite it being an away goal?
But here I go again, though. We can't assume that America will keep up this constant pressure for the whole 90 minutes. We're going to get burned out easily.
Yeah.
So maybe there are some moments where we can, sit back, soak up the pressure and then relieve on the counter. That could be a possibility, but you have to choose your moments wisely. You can't do that when we're at the peak of the game, when we're controlling the game. You can't do that. When you feel, and Bill has to be smart about this, and don't be so like egotistical, I guess, in a way. You're realizing that Toluca is coming at you. They're getting the better chances. Okay, you know what? Let me tell them to relax a little bit, soak it up, and then we'll relieve on the counter for a few. Once I see everything's slowed down, we go right back under pressure. And then, I guess it's kind of a moment-timed thing that we're going to have to play. But then that's the whole Liguilla game. That's what you're going to have to do, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be, a roller coaster. There's a lot of ups and downs throughout the fluidity of the match. Right. It's just trying to find that kind of consistency
Right.
throughout the game.
Something
Granted,
we've been lacking all year.
yes, granted, a game always fluctuates from up and down.
Yes.
No one team always stays kind of, flatlined.
Unless you're America against Veracruz, where we set up here.
I mean, there was a point where we dipped a little bit when that penalty came, but
yeah, and then we went right back up, so we're good.
But you're right, but the thing is, the question here is, it's because I look at the team. America, man for man, has a much better roster than Toluca.
Yes.
I want them to go out and play like that, but it's kind of like the Americanista in me that has seen so much and has already felt so much from this team letting me down, that I know what I most likely will get from this team.
Mm-hmm.
That I guess I'm preparing myself for the worst come situation in which we don't play the way we should play, especially with the team that we have, with the players that we have.
Mm-hmm.
If we do, I'm over the moon. And I can sit here and I can talk to you exactly what America needs to do, what roles each player has to play. But at the end of the day, it's actually what happens down on Thursday. Mm-hmm. What happens down on Sunday. Right? So America walks away with that 1-1. Goes to the Azteca, takes the game to them, and then scores a goal, soaks up the pressure, and then finds a way to relieve off the counter and get a second goal. I think it's game, match, set, and done. Mm-hmm. And you call it a series for the quarterfinals, right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
but it's
in theory.
In theory, yes. Obviously, all this is in theory. But so what we're saying is, so you guys are going 2-0, 2-1. I will say 1-0. America takes it in the Estadio Nemesio Diaz.
You already said 1-1.
I said for the sake of my example, moving forward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going 1-0 for my prediction, and then in the Estadio Azteca, I think we take it 3-1. What's your guys' prediction for the Azteca?
I go 2-1 Azteca. So 2-0 first leg, and then 2-1 Azteca. Aggregate 4-1 America.
Okay.
I go 2-1 again.
So you're going 4-2 aggregate. You're going 4-1, and I'm going 4-1 aggregate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see that. Let us know. Let us know what you guys think.
It's funny how we're imploding a goal fest, and over 2 legs.
And yeah, we were talking about
hour of this podcast. We said that we don't score enough goals.
Set piece is the key.
What is wrong with us?
We're hypocrites.
Yeah, I guess that's what it comes down to. But I mean, I guess it's not so much about we don't score goals because we know we kind of do. I guess we
want to see more from the strike.
It's wrong to say that we're scoring goals from the wrong person, but it's wrong to say that because no one, like, obviously you want everybody, like, if someone scores, obviously you're gonna be happy, but like, I guess it's more of a striker issue in a sense. I don't think it's a goal issue. If you guys know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to get at, but we just seem like it's an overall problem and it's not.
Or maybe we're just amateurs and we don't know how to convey ourselves.
I would hope it's not the latter.
I
would hope that we have a way with words, but I mean, then again,
I think
this is all a learning curve.
Right. I mean, if we didn't, then people wouldn't be listening to us, right?
I would hope so. Maybe they just like Dylan's voice. It helps them go to sleep.
Oh, true.
Hello.
But all right, we're going with that, and then of course, we'd have to wait. So
regardless, it's going to be a spectacle, though. The Liguilla always is.
It always is. It always is. So, with that said, the boys are feeling confident. I'm feeling confident. Make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter at Eagle Eye Pod, because we will have you guys covered with everything in regards to Liguilla lineups. We will confirm lineups and then live tweets, reactions from us in regards to the first leg and second leg, which, by the way, first leg is Thursday night. I believe it is at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central time, and then, of course, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I will be in class for the first half. Well, only for the first 20 minutes, but then also the drive home. I miss first half, which sucks.
Yeah.
Damn, and the Cowboys play.
And I'm actually not going to be home for the first leg.
Don't worry, though. Dude. We still have you covered, though.
We still have it covered. Don't worry.
We still have you covered on everything. Don't worry. It doesn't matter.
For the second leg, though, I'll be home with this America jersey and this America flag sitting in my living room watching the game.
Exactly. But we'll have you guys covered with everything. Make sure you guys do follow us like always. You guys already know. The closer we get to a big number, the closer we are to giving back to you guys. So make sure you guys do spread the word, spread the love, and also just tweet at us, interact with us. We always love talking to you guys, whether it's through the Eagle Eye podcast, whether it's through our own personal Twitter account. Yeah. Which, by the way, Christian, we did not answer one question on last week's Q&A podcast. And this question was, should Dylan, aka Cowboy Dan, make an alternative Twitter at Cowboy Dan in which he tweets out as an Americanista / cowboy? Let us know. What do you guys? Would you guys like to see that? Would you like to see all this witty interaction with Cowboy Dan and the Americanismo? Dylan, tell them what your bio would read.
The rootinest, tootinest America fan in Texas.
There you go. What more do you want? It writes itself. It writes itself. Let us know. I think everyone would enjoy it. Everyone would appreciate it. Everyone would love it. I think me and you have been going back and forth on some of the tweets you could have wrote down this Veracruz game. So I think, Dylan, you should make it happen.
Got it. Noted.
Are you on it?
I'm on it.
All right. Now, before we close out the show, we have to give a huge shout out to our hashtag Lady Águilas making it again into the semifinals. Round of applause for our ladies making it all the way to the semifinals again. Now with a very tough opponent, as always, in front of them with Pachuca.
Las Tuzas.
Las Tuzas going up against our Lady Águilas. Now, if you guys remember this, they saw each other maybe not more than 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about
in which America was winning that game, but then somehow Veracruz. We've been talking so much, we've said them so much, it's kind of stuck in my brain. Las Tuzas, out of nowhere, in the last couple of minutes, just completely flipped the game on its head and then walked away with a win.
Yeah. That I mean, I think it was like the 89th minute, 88th minute. The girls grow up 2-1, and then all of a sudden they just come back and like it's 2-2 by the 90th minute, and then like in like the 90th plus 2 minute in that stoppage time, that's when they score the third one and put the nail in the coffin. Yeah. I'm just like, gosh, dang it, man.
Now, first place was on the line.
Yeah, it really was.
Now, how will that play into this? Now, of course, our Lady Águilas first half to receive Las Tuzas in Coapa, and then, of course, afterwards, they will be traveling down to Hidalgo, trying to make sure they can, cement themselves into the final. Now, there's a possibility that the Lady Águilas making it into the final could see Las Chivas.
Chivas or Tigres, right?
Yes, Chivas or Tigres. Now,
and reminder that Tigres was the one that eliminated Lady Águilas last season.
Exactly. So, whoever is up on the table, our Lady Águilas have a lot kind of going for them. They want to get revenge over Las Tuzas, who took first place and kind of maybe humiliated them a little bit in that last game. If you get Tigres, you want revenge because they stopped you
last season. Yes,
last season, and then if you have Chivas,
they have a title
final. It's the final of the century for Liga MX Femenil.
And they have one. They have one over you already. Chivas won the first one. Yeah.
So you need to tie them up with all of this rivalry going on. Now we are making a promise here on the Eagle Eye podcast. If the Lady Águilas make it into the final, regardless of who it is, we will have a full extended coverage of those matches. I have no idea how we're gonna get footage. I have no idea how we're gonna make it work. But I will make it work. Promise on this podcast today. If you see our Lady Águilas make it into the final, your Eagle Eye boys will dedicate their time and effort to give you the best full coverage of these two legs in the final, whether it be Tigres, whether it be Chivas. And of course, if it's Chivas, we have something special in store for the ladies. That's all I'm gonna say.
And actually, a big shout out to the ladies who actually interact with us over on Twitter. If you guys have noticed that, a little bit,
yeah.
Shout out, huge shout out. So hashtag Lady Águilas. When do they play, Dylan?
They play this Friday. the 30th at 3, and the second leg, which will go down to Hidalgo, would be Monday at 6. I remember, yeah, 6.
Okay, so Friday, you know what to do. First thing you do in the morning, hashtag Lady Aguilas. Monday, first thing you do when you wake up from that hangover from Sunday, first thing you do is you tweet hashtag Lady Aguilas. Let them know that we're behind them. Ladies, we are fully behind you. And trust me, I could see both these teams lifting a trophy at the end of the season.
What a story that would be, no? Both men and women teams lifting the trophy.
So let's make it happen. Gentlemen, make sure you guys do your thing. Ladies, as always, keep doing what you do. We love you. We hope.
One last thing, taking on the lady subject, we have to give a shout out to the Mexico U17 women who will be competing in the semifinal of the U17 World Cup against Canada tomorrow at 5 Eastern Standard Time.
And it's even more of a sweet glory because our own hashtag Lady Aguila in net, JD, had a phenomenal game.
Especially in the penalty shootout against Ghana.
Yeah, and then Julieta Peralta scored the winner.
Oh, yes.
And that shootout, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What a great moment it is. Historic victory.
And shout out to Jimena Rios, too, who was also with the U17s.
There you go.
So our Lady Aguila is doing their best even across the board.
Oh, yeah, that equalizer was insane, Chicken Biscuit. I don't know if you guys saw it. That was insane. A long-range shot. It was beautiful.
Tag me.
Tag me.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
And you know what? I saw the ladies in Mexico. They have Canada up next.
They have Canada up next. Yes, that game will be tomorrow.
That's not an easy team. Although, if you look at it from a men's side, you're like, oh, my gosh, it's Canada.
Yeah,
but these Canadian ladies,
yeah, I don't know.
They got something going for them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Phenomenal. Either way, ladies, we love you. Keep doing your thing. Keep pushing for that sport to be worldwide dominant, as we know they can be.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always say, hashtag Lady Aguilas. Let's go. Hopefully, we could be seeing and saying more about them. So, gentlemen, we've come to the end of the podcast. What a show it's been. What a game we have in store in regards to Toluca. Gentlemen, how you guys feeling?
I'm confident.
Yeah.
I think we can walk away with the victory. I think this is the year.
Yeah, feeling pretty good.
It's been too long.
It has been too long. Now let's see whether or not our boys can go out and perform and do their job. We'll be back next week to talk everything and all about Las Águilas del América. And as always, follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify if you guys have not. And like I always said, you guys never miss a show on there. And for those of you who are listening through SoundCloud or iTunes, thank you again for everything. And we will see you guys very, very soon next week. Actually, this Thursday, when you guys follow us on Twitter, and we'll have you guys covered with everything. Alrighty then. Gentlemen, as always, Christian, Cowboy Dan, thank you for coming on and being wonderful co-host.
Woo!
It's my favorite time of the day. I love it.
And it's the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, that's right.
That's true.
Liguilla is back. Liguilla is back. Alrighty then. Hopefully we can close out and go on into the Christmas season, and it can give you a nice little early birthday present. I'm talking to both you, Christian, and Dylan.
I would love nothing more for our Aguilas to win the title near my birthday. Not on it, it's near it though.
All right, gentlemen. Talk to you guys very, very soon. And until next time, as always, you guys take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And we'll see you guys very soon. And as always, Arriba la América.